What's going on, guys? I'm Mitty here and welcome back to the video. Today I want to talk to you guys about tanks in Battlefield 1. Now, if you follow the Battlefield community in terms of YouTube at all, you will have heard this whole discussion billions of times, and I'm sorry that I have to talk about it more, but I really want to get my opinion out there because I haven't done it. So the main thing that everybody is saying is that tanks are overpowered, that they're too good and you just can't do anything to defeat them in Battlefield 1. For the majority of this, I don't think it's true. I agree on one hand, but the rest of it I don't. Tanks are really good, but I think too many people are saying they're overpowered. I think they're just right. Now, what I think a tank should be is you should be feared. You see a tank and you should run the other way if you have nothing to deal with it, or at least you should try and hide, not to get spotted by it, otherwise you'll be taken out instantly. At the same time, there should be areas that are mainly for infantry combat and areas that are mainly for tank combat, but then again they can mix together to make one area. And what I mean by this is Battlefield 4's big problem I found was that a lot of the time when you go somewhere as infantry, a tank can just come rolling through the area, which makes it extremely difficult as an infantryman to actually do something, because the tank can suddenly appear and you have nothing to do with it and you can easily get taken out. You basically sat there smiling at this tank, completely defenseless. So sure, they did add anti-tank grenades and smaller areas to go through, but I didn't find that problem in Battlefield 1. Most of the time when I saw a tank that I couldn't take it out, I'd be able to avoid it or entirely just not bother with it and just run the other way. And I never felt like I'd start the game, go somewhere, and a tank suddenly appeared, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, I haven't even got to the game, and suddenly I'm dead because of a tank. I found that a lot in Battlefield 4 where I'd spawn an objective, start running somewhere, a tank appears out of nowhere, and I'm dead already. Now, the difference in Battlefield 1 I find is that there's now 3 different variants of tank instead of sort of 1 heavy tank and 2 light tanks in Battlefield 4, with now 3 variants, of course, the light, the heavy, and the land ship. For the most part, I find that they're fine. The biggest problem that I have, and that seems everybody else has as well, is that the light tank is extremely good. I mean, I'm not a tank player at all. I enjoy doing it, and when there's one free I'll go up and use it and have a lot of fun doing so, but it's not my primary thing. I usually stick to the ground, and especially in Battlefield 4 I love taking out tanks as opposed to actually going up and driving one myself. But I was even able to go on I think at least a 30 kill streak playing Battlefield 1, which in a tank for somebody who doesn't drive them is insane. You can take out basically any infantry before they can even throw anything on you to damage you. I've never got taken out by dynamite in the beta. It doesn't stick to anything, and the fact that it just doesn't seem to be that powerful. I think it should always be 3 dynamite sticks or 3 dynamite collections really. It should be able to take out any tank. And also then the fact that the light tank, I can actually take out the land ship and the heavy tank pretty easily, especially seeing it was much faster, and I had a much better cannon, the fact that I controlled it as well. So I think the other two, like I said, are fine, but the light tank really does need some balancing. Maybe even from the opposite side, maybe there should be some kind of balancing where it's changed so maybe everybody has access to anti-tank grenades as opposed to just the assault. Now, another problem I have is that the tank hunter class wasn't really used as a tank hunter. Most of the time he was used to go up and take out infantry, or even go up and take out the elite classes. And even when you did shoot at a tank, it still did extraordinary damage, but it really wasn't enough to take out the tank effectively. And the other thing as well is that when you have these tanks, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, the artillery is good enough to take them out, go up and use that. Now, I totally agree, the artillery is extremely good for taking out the tanks. The problem is that the artillery is never around. As soon as people start to realize it was so powerful, they just take it out as soon as they got an objective, meaning that you run up to it, try and use it, and of course it's destroyed. And because there is no standard class at the moment has access to a repair tool, there's nothing you do about it unless you happen to be another tank driver, or even be a cavalryman or a pilot, which rarely happens. You'd rarely get off your vehicle and think, you know what, I'm going to go up and repair this artillery gun to make sure people can take out me easier. That's not really something that makes sense. So if possible, you introduce the fact where you can repair the artillery gun as any class, or even if one class has a repair tool now, as opposed to it only being the exclusive to the elite classes. So maybe you are balancing. So maybe if you went up and made it so that the artillery gun can be repaired by anyone regardless what class they are, but it takes a long time, or you actually give a repair tool to one of the standard classes as opposed to one of the mechanic classes with the pilot, cavalry, or the tank driver. And now for the balancing for the light tank, in real life the tank is a Renault tank, and it's actually two people inside, one person driving and one person on the gun. Now I was kind of hoping that's how it would be to make it interesting, but of course it's not. It's one person controlling the whole tank. So maybe if it was tried as two people in a tank, one person driving, one person on the gun, that might actually work with a quick switch time between the Top Gun and the driver. So if it was only you inside the tank, you could easily go up and instantly switch to the Top Gun, but couldn't be as powerful going on the move taking out people. You know, you'd have to stop, aim, and then carry on, as opposed to just going and shooting the entire time. If you really want to have something where the driver has some kind of weapon, you could go up and actually give him a machine gun right at the front, which I believe was actually a thing, and therefore that would make him at least a little bit more powerful, be able to do his own thing, as opposed to the gunner having complete control. Again, this was only a beta, which is the main reason for having a beta, is to test out everything that would be overpowered, glitchy, or does absolutely no work at all. So it's a good thing that we are all pointing out the mistakes or things we didn't like to hopefully have them fixed by the final game. So unintentionally, like last video, this one was kind of a rant, but definitely after this week, remember to see video on Monday of course, and then we'll carry on with the standard Battlefield 1 videos. But until then guys, this is Emitter, out.